Hello, bloggers. It's really tough to establish yourself because essentially you can't compromise on the quality of your content, but you also need to put out a massive quantity of content. So it's really a battle to find the perfect balance of both and to maintain both. But I'd say one of the secondary battles that's probably just as big as just keeping up is keeping motivated. It's really hard to keep trying to put out solid content when you feel like your growth probably isn't hitting the milestones that you quite envisioned for yourself. Regardless, blogging is a worthwhile way to get your words out there. So I wanted to share a few of the ways that I've managed to stay motivated to keep at it for over a year, even when it doesn't seem to be like bearing a lot of fruit at first. So number one is let yourself celebrate small milestones. So whether that is reaching 200 Twitter followers, if that is getting 500 views on a single piece, whatever the milestones you want to set them, and then when you hit them, let yourself celebrate. Let yourself feel good. You don't want to compare yourself to others who are getting like 10,000 views a day. Start out small, start out with realistic goals, and kind of think to yourself, like, let's say you have a piece that eventually gets 1,000 views. It's actually really good. Like, you actually had 1,000 different people read your words, and that has meaning to it. So when you hit a small milestone, let yourself feel good about it. Next, I'd say promote your work and promote it widely. There's no reason not to make yourself heard. So harness your social media resources and start sharing. Whether you use Twitter or Instagram, you can use both of those. They're great. On Twitter, it's really easy to post links since you get like a lovely preview. Instagram's a lot harder, but you can always harness that link in your bio and kind of put your website, your blog, or an individual blog article there. You can also update your story and kind of be like, hey, link in bio, new piece. If you surpass 10,000 followers on Instagram, you get the great swipe up feature, and then you can actually link directly to a blog post and, put a picture of it or whatever in your story and try to like lure people over that way. It's a really nice milestone. But I will say I did personally surpass 10,000 followers a couple months ago, and I'd say usually I can get between 10 and 20 swipe ups when I post an article. Sometimes I'll get more. So it's not an awe-inspiring amount. It's a pretty like low engagement rate there. But of course it varies. Everyone's different. Everyone's content performs a little bit differently. But another great platform to harness would be LinkedIn if you're writing about any kind of professional stuff or any kind of content that would appeal to people in a certain profession. Then LinkedIn is a pretty good place to share your words as well. Facebook is always a little bit dicier because you don't want to just spam your friends and family with stuff, but you can always create an author page if you want to. Either way, promote your work and don't feel bad about it. I think the foundation of staying motivated to keep blogging is to really care about the topics that you're writing about. You have to feel motivated to write about what you're writing about. It might sound obvious, but as you're going through the throes of content creation, you're going to have some things that perform great and some things that perform eh. So even if you're tempted to write about only the stuff that performs the best, if your labor of love is the stuff that performs decently but not quite as well, then, keep trying to work with it. Keep trying to find ways to make it more exciting and interesting for people and try to get it to perform better, because ultimately you need to care about the topics that you're writing about. If you're forcing yourself all the time to write about things you're not passionate about, you're going to run out of ideas really, really fast. Another thing I like to do is to try working in sprints. So if you kind of take a day out of the week and just sit down for several hours and focus solely on writing, it could make you really productive. If you get out of your normal space, go to like a cafe nearby or something, it gets you out of your element and it can really help you focus. Writing in sprints definitely helps me. It can be hard to chip away at blog articles like several times throughout the week, but if you sit down and just try to crank out like 5 articles, it can actually work out pretty well. It'll take a lot of time, but when you're in the zone, each little individual task will take less time. So you're in the groove of finding pictures, you'll find pictures quicker. You're in the groove of researching, you'll find good sources to implement quicker. Doing a writing sprint can really work wonders. Another thing that helps is to remind yourself of the intrinsic value in what you're doing. So the cornerstone of any kind of successful web content is that it needs to have a point. It needs to either entertain your reader or it needs to inform your reader. It needs to give them something. So ultimately, a lot of what you're doing is going to be researching, sharing your experience, and in a way, giving advice. So you need to remember that there's intrinsic value in that. If even just one person reads your work and feels like they're benefiting from it, that's a really good thing. And it's okay to feel good about that. You can feel good about that. So winding down here, this is my last tip. You have to believe in what you're doing. You can't have doubt. You can't think to yourself, oh, I'm going to fail. Oh, this piece isn't going to get read by anyone. You've got to believe in what you're doing. Even if your start is slow, even if it takes a lot of time to start getting views, hold on to the belief that it's going to get better. You're going to start gaining traction. You're going to start reaching more people. And ultimately, you're going to broaden your audience. It takes a lot of time. It can be demoralizing, but you've got to stick with it. If you doubt yourself, if you doubt what you're doing, it's going to be a lot easier to lose your motivation and get stuck in a rut. All in all, when it comes to blogging, it's a long haul. If you want to find success in it, you've got to be ready to commit yourself to it, commit your time to it, and know that it could take a year or more before it really bears fruit. So do everything that you can to keep motivated along the way and keep your eye on the big picture and have confidence that you are eventually going to get there. So good luck with all of your blogging endeavors. If you have other techniques to keep motivated, I'd love to hear about them. So thank you guys for watching. If you're curious to read some of my blogs, I post on Medium and I'm including a link down below. So have an awesome day, guys. I will see you next time.